We got a great show for you. We got some tinfoil hat favorites here. We're going to get into a little esoteric, a little Hollywood, everything going on. It seems like the perfect time to have them on. They're a power couple of conspiracies. Yeah, I'm very excited to have them on. Please welcome Jay Dyer and Jamie Hanshaw. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Very good.
We're like Bradgelina and what's the other one? And
Yeah, you guys really are.
But it's just Jamie, so it's like
Yeah.
Jay and Jamie's Jamie.
Yeah,
Well,
JJ.
yeah. And
The JJs.
Ben Affleck went back and forth, right, between
They're
J-Lo
two
and-
different Benefers.
That's right, Benefers. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, he jumped on J-Lo when he jumped out when everyone's like, she's on these Diddy tapes. He's like, bye-bye, bye-bye. So, man, you guys are telling me, I assume most of everybody knows these guys. They've been on the show multiple times, and they've always done great. Why don't you tell us a little bit about anything you got going on right now in terms of I know your new book is coming out, and anything else you want to kind of get out of the way where they can find you if they don't, in case these are new people listening. Like my brother just started listening, so tell my brother where he can
So
find
is that
you.
the other listener
Yeah.
of the podcast? We just put out my third book. That's a Hollywood book. I got 4 books, but this is the Esoteric Hollywood Part 3. And in this one, I went into totally different subject matter. If you go to the shop, you'll see right there at the shop.
Website's on fire, bro.
Oh, thanks, dude.
That's a professional website.
No, it's not. It's I made that shit
Well,
after I got
professional
deleted.
looking.
I got deleted by WordPress. I had to figure all this shit out on my own. And anyway, so the third one deals with a lot of the classics that I didn't get to the other two. So we get into Christopher Nolan, the Marvel crap. We get into Hollywood spies. That's another thing I thought might be a cool topic for
sure.
Your ethos. And then what else we got going? We got a bunch of podcasts we're doing.
Yeah, you're
this week.
you're doing all the bangers, dude.
We got to get me go through the ritual humiliation, as you said, of the 304s, taking me down. My first debate loss. I'm going to throw the debate. We'll have debates going, and then I'm going to throw it.
You should just go, great point. That's a great point. I never saw it that way.
Right. I'm a feminist now. So
I've been coaching him. He has to be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're debating a feminist and a panel of chicks. So.
Well, that show is all about, hey, do you want subscribers?
Yeah.
Come on here and just get your skull kicked in, and then you'll get a ton of incels signing up for you. And that's exactly what it is.
So I want them coming to my OnlyFans. Right?
Yeah,
where it's like me and yoga pants. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So it's rated PG, but so we're doing we just did Ruslan's podcast, which is a pretty big Protestant evangelical YouTube channel. Shouted you out quite a bit in that podcast because he was talking about live events. And he said, I want to get into live events. I was like, Sam Tripoli is the one that talked me into doing live events.
Yeah, and you guys ran with it, dude. You guys put on these big events, and it's pretty cool to see, dude. And it's like I think that's a really important thing to do, because especially when you live in Los Angeles and we're in such a depressed comedy economy right now. Nobody's going out, so it's good to get out of LA and go to the people and check them out. And so I'm happy for you guys. That's got to be a great thing for in the middle of nowhere. You show up to do a show and you get this wonderful presentation.
Yeah, I feel like it's only if you have a kind of a ready-made audience does it work. Like it would be very difficult with the type of material that we do or the subject matter to go like fresh into a comedy club.
Yeah,
It'd be like, what the fuck?
And you would hate the money.
I've heard it's not very good.
Yeah, it's not good. It's built on an old model.
If you sell your own tickets to your audience, it's a great way to go about it. But
some merch too.
Are you guys doing T-shirts?
Yeah, I should tease that.
We haven't yet. We talked
you guys gotta do. Guys,
Really?
you're leaving so much on the table.
Oh, really?
Or just product.
Take the cover of your book.
Yeah. Put it
Turn
on
it into a
shirt.
T-shirt.
That's a good idea.
Only buy at the shows type of thing.
Yeah, I have this one shirt. I have a second shirt being made too, where it's called the secret shirt, and they're not allowed to see what it is, and they can't look at it till they get into their car. Because if I see them look at it before, I grab it from them. So it's like, so you do like kind of the more crazier ones that way, or you just have 3 or 4 different shirts, and people love shirts. Because back in the day when comedians went on the road, we sold CDs.
Yeah.
Well, I had a guy hand me a CD the other day, and I'm like, what am I going to do, coke off this? I'm like, what is this for? I love it. I thank you. I'll hold it. I'll cherish it.
He's like, I made you this mixtape in 2004.
Yeah.
So
And I love him. He's great, but I'm just like, it's like you got to adapt with the times, and like the times are like they want to buy a piece so they can remember it.
Yeah. Right.
And T-shirts are a great way.
No,
to
that
do it.
reminds me. Sam Hyde had a good idea. He did a limited run of a shirt of Epstein, but it was in the style of like a '90s Memphis rap. Like it was like a Project Pat CD cover, but it was Epstein.
Yeah.
And he did a limited run of that, and once it ran out, they were selling on eBay for like $1,000. It was crazy.
Yeah, we do limited edition shirts all the time.
We need to do that. Keep that in your mind.
Okay.
Put that in.
T-shirts.
Write that
next
down.
time.
Write that down.
Write that in your head.
So you're doing the Hot Twins, you're doing whatever. You're doing Jamie Kennedy.
We did Ruslan, and then
You did Leonardo's. I saw you on Leonardo Joni's.
Yeah, we're gonna go eat dinner with her.
She's great. We love her very much.
She's a wild, sassy woman.
Well, she's a combination of fearless and incredibly smart.
Yeah.
Like, that's a deadly combination. And I believe, I told this, in 2 to 5 years, everyone's going to go, you were right. You just got to sit in the pocket. Like, last night I was blessed. Tom Segura invited me to his premiere of his TV show coming out. It's like this sketch comedy show. It is really dirty, and it is really dark, and it's really funny. And so I went there, and Christina Pajinski was there, and she ran up to me like, oh my God, I love you. And she would introduce me to everybody as the funniest person on planet Earth. And then she would say, and he's right about everything. And like, that's crazy because I remember going on their show, and dude, I would die for those. They've been so kind to me. I love them. But I remember going on their show a long time ago, debating Russian collusion.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, Russia definitely. I go, there's no evidence.
There's no evidence. Yeah.
So to see that how far they've come,
That's awesome.
you just got to kind of sit in the pocket and weather the storm.
That's exactly what, when you took us to the Jimmy Dore thing, last year or year before, like that was eye-opening to see, like all these left-minded people are basically on the same page as like Alex Jones. And you had like this boomer Larry Sanders looking like Marxist shows up to debate. It was awesome.
There was a mega guy and then a Marxist, and then they were hugging each other.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's crazy to see the shift. Like, I think X played a big role in that. By the way, the comedians played a huge role that people are overlooking. Like, you guys with the N-word magic. You, Leonardo, Sam Hyde, you guys did like
Owen Benjamin.
you guys did meme magic with the N-word to change the culture.
Right, 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now you can go to the comedy clubs and have your switchblade and get ready to
attack, get shanked. Right? And it's happened to me. People have jumped on stage and tried to fight me.
You had to throw. Times. You threw this. Eddie Bravo threw a dude's phone on the roof of the. It was in Florida.
That.
Oh, you did that.
I did that.
Okay.
Yeah, some guy tried to get smart and he fucking chucked his phone. I've had people. We had a black.
I've been at the one at the Comedy Store where you ran into the girls' restroom after that.
Yeah, I've had a couple of those.
And you even had what was that guy's vampire chicks? Maybe you had Machine Gun Kelly in your face. That's what I was trying to think of. Vampire Megan Fox.
Yeah, for sure. So, you can say whatever you want on the show. It's like it's so funny because I put out this video where I beeped the N-word just because I was going to put it on Instagram first, and Instagram's just a whole different set of rules than Twitter. Like, I'm convinced Twitter's going to get bigger and bigger. They just got to solve the bot thing.
Yeah, it sucks.
That's it, because the bots are astroturfing race wars, anti-Semitism wars and all that stuff. That's just so once they figure that out, and I don't know if they're going to be allowed to. Half the discussion at Auschwitz between Netanyahu and Elon Musk was like, "You've got to keep all the bots. You've got to keep. That's the only way we can win this thing. We've got to keep the bots." And so
there's only 6 million bots, though, right?
Yeah,
but it's got to stay at 6 million. Maybe 8 million bots. You can raise it a little bit.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but I think it's the greatest conversation, and I don't know how much to buy into this, that they've killed this anti-Semitism bill, where if you're a business in Texas or a business anywhere in the United States, if you boycott Israel, you can get up 20 years and $1 million fine. Like, to me, then they killed the bill. That doesn't happen without Twitter, in my humble opinion. because there's no other place that you can get in these guys' face because they made a law they can't block you if they're a politician. So you're just allowed to tee off on them. And some of them are on it all the time, and they're just seeing that they're getting big blowback on these ridiculous bills.
Dude, I saw a Tucker clip today that blew me away. I mean, I don't watch all the Tucker shows, can't keep up with all of them, but I was watching a Tucker clip today that popped up, and it was like him and Matt Walsh, of all people, like discussing the aid to Israel. Dude, that would have never happened like 3-4 years ago, that discussion.
Oh,
right?
the crazier one, and he had some guy very passionate about 9/11. And he was just literally buying it. It could be an inside job, and he's there like, we got to look into this. And I'm
Who
like,
was it?
Tucker.
Richard Cage?
Let me look him up.
Well, I have so our friend who became Orthodox a couple of years ago, he was the producer that got me that slot on the last Tucker show on Fox where I was Klaus Schwab. He's said that, implied that Tucker knows what's going on.
Kurt Weldon is the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Like a
that
long time ago.
he has
A
to
long
play
time
a
ago.
game. I think when these guys get really high up, they understand how to slow roll out information. You know, I mean, I don't know if you saw the clip with Tim Dillon going off on Sam Harris.
Yeah.
Like, that's the most fire shit you'll ever see ever. It's the most fire shit.
Wait, he's there?
No, Tim Dillon is just, I mean, it's almost got to be like a fatal blow, you know, on Sam Harris.
Yeah, but there's no overlap between their audiences, really.
I don't know. I think Tim Dillon crosses over. I think there's a lot of progressives that like Tim Dillon.
That are still with Sam Harris, that still watch that guy? Like, those are the last holdouts, you know?
Well, I mean, what's the lap over between Rogan and Sam Harris? Every time
Rogan overlaps everybody. I mean, I think he's kind of the Venn diagram.
Well, I don't know. This Tim Dillon clip is such fucking fire, dude.
Yeah, and then Rogan having that, Dave Smith, Douglas Murray debate, that was wild, right?
Yeah.
I've actually been in another man. I've been in a man. How can you talk about being in a man? And that was like, what the hell, dude? That was the worst debate, man. It was so weak.
Well, yeah, because
I mean, he lost. That dude lost.
Yes.
Well, because in a normal debate, Douglas Murray in the past is the voice of reason,
Right.
and then he's arguing with
Appealing to authority.
yeah. Well, he's arguing with people who are debating with idealism,
Right.
like this is ideally what it should be, and like you can't debate on that. But in this argument, Dave Smith is the one who's grounded, and Douglas Murray is the one that's way out in idealism land. Right. And it's like trying to get you not to believe your eyes, your ears, or the wisdom of your experience.
Dude, all these people are still using the old Bush line that if you don't support one side, you're with the terrorists.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that's like 20-year-old neocon stuff. Nobody buys that anymore.
Yeah,
So.
it's crazy. You're either with us or you're against us, and all the liberals at the time. I don't know if there were progressives back then. It just seems like I never heard the word progressive back in like the 9/11 days. It wasn't until like Obama comes in and then you start getting these really crazy people. That's when the progressives came in, and then they just adopted everything the other side said.
Yeah.
We love war. If you're not with us, you're against us, and all that crazy shit. And it's like I just think I know that there's a lot of black pills out there, and I get it. I'm a white pill guy. I think we're winning. That doesn't mean that more chaos isn't going to happen, but I think we're winning.
Was it a little Tucker laugh? Right there. I agree.
Now, do you hit them up to go up, or do they hit you up to come on when you do
The Tucker thing?
or any of these shows that you do, like Piers Morgan?
So we had a friend that goes on there regularly to debate, and then he couldn't do it, and they were like, "Who can we get?" So they asked me, and I didn't know what to expect. I had no idea who was going to be on the panel. I didn't even know the topic until the day of it, and the guy the British dude calls me up, and he's like, Jay.
Like Pierce?
The producers.
Okay,
and they're like, we're going to bring you on. And listen, I know that we're British, and you probably think that we're very polite. We absolutely despise politeness. So please be aggressive when you come on. So I'm like, okay, yeah,
Oh
fine.
yeah, they're telling you to muck it up.
He calls me again. He goes, I just want to remind you, please get wild and aggressive. He calls me again 3 times. He calls me 3 times. Jay, just one reminder, be aggressive, come out of the gate right away. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I went after that fake woke preacher right away, the black dude.
That's so funny.
was
Their
wild.
thumbnails, that wall of just hate on his YouTube page is just everybody.
They love. They love
Every page is
Oshana on there, dude.
Yeah, every page is-
Oshana just stares at, just screams at everybody. Yeah, man, that's great. It was great to see you on that.
It was wild. Yeah, I had no idea what to expect. And I forgot that. So I think it was supposed to be a panel with Bannon too, but Bannon hates Roger Stone. So he wouldn't come on a panel with Roger Stone. So they did this like 15-minute Bannon interview. And then they went to the panel, and it was just like off to the races right away.
That's crazy that he won't go on with him.
But the crazy part was the black dude that I was making. I don't know if you probably didn't see it
Yeah,
yet.
I
but-
still watched the clip.
Okay, so the black dude, he didn't even get my jokes. I kept intentionally calling him, I forgot his name, some weird name like Talda Swan. I kept calling him Bishop Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, I know.
And he got mad and corrected, but that is not my name, son. So I just kept calling it. And if I go back
Nobody
on
else
there,
noticed it either, which is the
well,
funny
the
thing.
people in the comments noticed it, right?
You would think Piers would have noticed
Piers didn't notice it.
Tilda
The
Swinton.
producers they messaged me. They're like, dude, that had us all rolling. Tilda Swinton.
Me too. Yeah.
And then at the end, they were like, who should we have as Pope? And I'm like, Katy Perry, dude.
Yeah, that was great.
I mean, she went to space. She saw the divine feminine. Why can't she be a pope? You guys want women, priests, bishops, ministers. Let's have a Katy Perry pop star pope. Why not? Did you see Conclave, that crazy
Yes,
movie?
I saw
I
it.
have not seen it. Everyone on bunch of my podcasts have seen it.
Okay, it's a boring movie. Do you want me to spoil it or no?
Now I know the end.
I already
Yeah,
told
so
him.
it got a trans pope. So
Which is just Hollywood one more time, just effing with everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just listening to everyone cry about, like, anti-Semitism, and I'm like, you did a movie about a trans pope. Like, it's not that it's not you're getting picked on. It's just now everyone gets it.
do you know I did a skit in 2018 that I just put on my Twitter where I was a trans pope?
Whoa.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? I'm not saying
They
I'm
stole your
prophet.
idea.
I'm saying like they're like, no, but my jokes, the satire is reality now. That's the crazy
But
part.
as a trans pope, is it male, female, female, male?
It's a guy.
It's an in between. Like
Yeah, it's a hermaphrodite,
it's a
right?
non-binary.
Oh, okay,
it's a non-binary
okay,
pope.
okay,
yeah.
okay.
That way he can appeal to both sides. And I actually think that's what the movie was trying to say. Not it didn't have anything to do with my skit, but I think the movie was trying to say like, this is the next phase of progressing. You know what I mean?
So, we got Giovanni Vuk sitting in on the couch over there. He's just opened his own school. What's the name of your school? Vuk Jiu-Jitsu in San Pedro?
Yes, sir.
In San Pedro. So if you're in the area, you want some jiu-jitsu, go check that out. But him and I, for the longest time, we would listen to Johnny Cash read the Bible, and we've been talking a lot about spirituality. I think you're seeing people starting to go back to the church, and if both of you guys, either one, why do you think that's happening?
I've been yapping too much. You talk.
Why do I think people are... Well, because I think they're seeing that the liberal way is not working. I mean, if you go to downtown LA, downtown San Francisco, all of the blue democratic liberal states are crumbling. And it's a really sad thing to see because I'm from California, so I love San Francisco, I love LA, I love San Diego. So, and it's all of the places of my youth are just being erased and, obliterated. And so I think people are recognizing that this is not a way to be. It's not sustainable, right, for any kind of high trust society. So they're looking for a more traditional way of living, just because I think they see the evidence that the extension of the logic does not make a good society for anybody.
The 90s seems far right. You know what I mean?
No,
Compared to where
100%.
it's like crazy. Like,
And there's this weird thing when it comes to vices that I've been thinking about. It's like, we kind of move to this whole thing where it's like, let's let everybody do whatever they want. We're going to give away drugs. We're going to make everybody porn stars. We're going to do all that. We're going to do all this. And it just doesn't work. And there's something about, there needs to be some sort of resistance to doing it, whether it's like you have to go somewhere to a shady area, buy drugs, and if you get the drugs, you could be arrested, which keeps a lot of people from doing it, right? Morally, whatever. But once you take that away, everyone starts to do it, and they're just not built for that. So, do I think people should be doing a lot of years in jail for drugs? No. But I also don't think we should totally legalize it and let everybody do drugs everywhere they want. There has to be some sort of resistance to it. And again, that's where spirituality comes in. If you're going to keep doing these shady things, you know, there needs to be a moral consequence to that.
Yeah, I remember I was watching a video on the way over here. We drove, actually. We didn't fly, but all these videos started popping up warning me about LA. It's like, beware of LA, beware of Santa Monica.
Interesting. Where'd you get those?
They just started popping up on YouTube. Like, you know, that big economics dude, Graham Stefan. He has a huge, like, economics channel. He just did a video about how bad Santa Monica is, where the promenade and all that is, because when he was a kid, she grew up there too. Now it's like 40% of the businesses are gone. It's just empty. Yeah. The whole place smells like bum piss. It's just like, it's terrible. We went there a couple years ago and it smelled bad, but it's even worse now. Yeah. So
bum piss.
Anyway, but I'm just, I think you see the effects of living in total vice, and that prompts a lot of people to look for virtue via spirituality, as you said.
And there's something about the state. They just want to be a feudal system. They want super rich and super poor, and they don't want any in between. And this Karen Bass shit that's going on, where the city's about to basically label the burnt down area a nuisance, and which means they're just going to claim the land, which is everything we said was going to happen from the start.
Like
which
a
is
smart city?
Flip into the smart cities.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah,
and the people who have been voting for the Gavin Newsoms and the Joe Biden, that are polling that they'd love to have Kamala Harris as a governor and all that stuff, those people are the ones whose houses got burnt down. And did that change any of their views on anything? No. Unbelievable.
It's a cult, dude. That's a stronger hold than Scientology, man.
That's the craziest thing.
Okay, I found, we had talked about that earlier, Sam, the nuisance thing. It's if there are more than 1,000 residents who still haven't picked an option in the debris removal plan. So if you don't, then your property will be declared a nuisance. So it's about 1,000 properties or 1,000 residents that would apply to right now. So that's what they're saying.
So the thing is that they're just leaving it like that, not picking up all the debris?
Well, okay, so this is from KABC. For homeowners impacted by the Palisades fire, the deadline is approaching to choose whether to opt in or out of a government-sponsored debris removal program. Now, anybody with common sense would say if you don't respond, you opted out, right? Obviously. But no, according to the government in this city, if you don't respond, we're taking your shit, I guess. I don't know. You'd be declared a nuisance. It says homeowners who previously opted out but have not yet begun to remove their own debris can still enroll in the program. She said more than 1,000 residents haven't picked. Like I said, if you do not take any action, properties will be declared a nuisance and owners will be responsible for all abatement costs without the possibility of FEMA reimbursement and possibly be subject to a lien on your property. So that's where it goes into possibly taking the property because you owe so much. Which is what they're going to
do.
Yeah. I don't mean to change the subject. It reminds me, though, when you were talking about vices and like those things being weaponized, that was a really good point that Charles made. And I forgot, there's a clip of Netanyahu in like 2001 or 2. And he's talking about, he says, well, if you want to change a culture, you just blast 90210 and Sex in the City into their culture. And he says Hollywood, through the toxic culture, will change the society.
100%.
Just like when they blasted like hardcore porn into some of the Palestinian areas as part of the psyop. You know about that, right? That was like a crazy psyop, right? So they know that, like he said, there's an industrial grade weapon that you can use with this stuff to change cultures and societies. And that's always what Hollywood, to some degree, I'm not saying everybody in the industry was a bad actor, but to some degree, there's always been this idea that you can engineer culture.
They may not be a bad actor, but they 100% co-sign on it.
Have you heard about they were giving cell phones and Starlink to the tribes in the Amazon and access to pornography?
And all they want to do is just sit around and jerk off all day.
And the women are like, all the men don't want to hunt. They don't want to do anything anymore. They're just all grouped around a
looking at butts. Just looking at butts.
And so within less than a year, you've changed this tribe who's been the same for thousands of years, and they're falling apart now because they have access to porn.
Yeah, we were talking about it in the last episode. It's like men aren't meant to see this much crotch.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just not meant to see it.
Imagine showing a tribesman, WAP. I mean, what is a tribesman who's never seen even a TV?
It's got to be the most mind-blowing thing he's ever seen in his
Or
life.
imagine trying to explain to your grandparents, like, infinity vagina. Like, in the future, your sons will see infinity vagina. Like, it's just a vagina that's like infinity vagina is going in.
It's
like,
just
its
not
vagina's
natural.
all the way down, like turtles all the way down.
Well, let's get into like some Hollywood stuff. I know you wanted to talk about some spy stuff, and I'd love to talk about that. We just had the Met Gala. And like they're just dressing like Minecraft characters now. It's like it's just not even. It's like, who are you? What are you doing? Like, is it like, how ridiculous can I get? Like Andre 3000's carrying a piano on his back. Did you see that?
No.
That was his outfit. He's wearing a piano on his effing back.
Do you remember when I came on about Beyonce? Did we talk about the gala?
I think,
and where the word comes from?
Did.
No.
I think we did.
This is crazy.
So basically, cults of the ancient world that worship the goddess Inanna, they would be socialist, they would be sort of feminist, they would be Skittles, and they would call themselves Gala, and they made themselves a priest class, and they would travel around from city to city like circus people, basically. And if you didn't pay them enough money, they would lift up their robes to show you that how they had mutilated their genitals. So
What?
yeah, so this is where we get the word gala, because that was the name of the priestcraft that.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? That's
So
like,
they would
that's
gross
like-
you. They would try to gross you out if you didn't. That was their leverage.
Yes, and it was a curse too to see that. So they. Would,
I agree.
And it was state mandated that you had to give them money. This like troupe of like crazy like temple prostitute people.
Yes,
right?
temple prostitutes.
Yeah.
So in the Roman Empire, they were actually like a protected political class.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Just
And
like now.
trans, so men
Yes.
would dress like women, and even the goddess Inanna in her poetry, they would say she is the goddess that turns men into women and women into men.
Isn't that crazy? This is not as conspiracy. This is from an actual academic, like scholarly text that she read. I didn't believe it when she was telling me this. I was like, "What?" And then she showed me the book. I was like, "That's crazy."
So history's just repeating
Exactly.
itself.
Yes.
Not just history, like the first history. I mean, I'm sure you know about Anunnaki and
Yeah.
Nephilim.
Yeah.
And so this is directly the first cities, Babylon, Chaldea, all of these where the gala comes from.
So as soon as man self-actualized, he told his friend to dress like a chick.
Yes, and a lot of their mystery plays were based on a public sex ritual where a priest would take the role of Inanna, and she would have sex with a man who would then inherit these king powers. So that was the legitimacy of his kingship, came from having this public sex ceremony with the
So
goddess
they would have a
represented.
public sex ceremony where a one dude would bang another dude.
No, a girl in the role of the goddess, a priestess. She would be I'm Inanna. So this is where we get, play acting, mystery plays, taking on characters. In the very first cities
Wow.
in Sumer, it was religious worship. So this is what Hollywood comes from.
Like
Wow.
And
the
that's-
plays were
Yes.
rituals.
Yes, initiation and also, for the public to emulate. So every spring, they would have this festival called the Akitu Festival, where the king and Inanna would have their public sex ritual, probably at the top of the ziggurat or whatever. And then all of the people in the city would also go out in their courtyard and bang in honor of this fertility ritual.
That is so crazy. Like that's their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna show up and watch the king and
bang.
some queen bang.
Yes.
Like,
And then you emulate it.
And the wealth of the city was actually in the hands of the priestcraft, because the ziggurat is the center of worship and
the,
wealth
and the social life.
And
yeah.
so people would come and bring their taxes or their tributes to the god, and the priests would manage that, so they became the wealth class.
so the religions have always controlled the money.
Yes.
That's so interesting to me. And there's this whole illusion that like we're more out of control than ever, right? And in reality, it was just more acceptable back in the day, right? They were still doing all these crazy things, but it was more state sponsored and and church sponsored. And now it's kind of made taboo, but everyone's doing it. And then so it's interesting. So as a Christian, right, to anybody in this room, I have this theory that the old gods are wanting to come out and play again.
Yes.
That they've been quiet for a while. They've kind of let, the Abrahamic religions build up everything. And then in reality, the very high powerful people aren't really into that Abrahamic religion. They're more really into these old, whether it's Zoroastrianism or Babylonian, magic or whatever. And that now they're kind of ready, like, okay, we just want to come out and let you guys know who's in charge here. And I think that's why, you saw Satanic Panic in the 80s was kind of the setup to this. The Red Scare with McCarthy set up for this. So when all these people start yelling about Marxists and Satan, that we kind of have this precedence where, oh, look at all those people, how stupid they were back then. You're going to do that again? But I think people are waking up to it.
Are you familiar with Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft?
I've heard the name, yeah.
So he wrote a bunch of horror stories in late 1800s, early 1900s. He was very influential on like Stephen King and all the guys that, Dean Koontz and those people. A lot of movies have been made on the basis of like Cthulhu. That's all from Lovecraft. His whole theory and thesis in his horror, which is based on occult stuff, by the way, is that the old gods are coming back. So you would find Lovecraft interesting. And by the way, I put Lovecraft stuff in my third book.
Well, and that's what these cults are meant to do, so such as the OTO and the Typhonian OTO. So they believe that the gods are out in space, but they can be incarnated through actual people. And we are noticing that the actual people they are incarnating through are the pop stars, right? So like Beyonce, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga. And what they are trying to do is create something called the new ISIS. And that is linked to feminism, and so they use these ritual goddesses such as Katy Perry in space now. So they think like the
that's crazy.
The energies from Sirius come down, and you can actually use women to channel exactly. And Katy Perry was a big one back maybe like 10 years ago at the Super Bowl. So if you want to start that story, it starts with L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons. So you know about these guys.
Yes,
right?
Of course.
Yeah, and the Babylon working out in the desert.
Yep.
And they said, I saw the goddess and she was riding this great cat-like beast. And I read that, and a couple months later, here comes Katy Perry.
That's so crazy.
At the Super Bowl on this giant lion in these flames.
The beast,
yeah, so she's the Scarlet Woman riding the beast. And so they put the Scarlet Woman ritual on a lot of the pop stars, and like we did our Beyonce shows, she's one of the huge ones, right? She's the one that they all have to bow down to. Have you noticed at the award shows?
Everybody has to
have to thank her.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Because there's a hierarchy.
It's like a priestess,
yes.
Yeah. Did you see that clip of Katy Perry when she got down supposedly from space and she was crying and she was like, I saw the divine feminine and I contacted the goddess. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, she is crazy.
I
hates her.
I didn't even expect her to actually say that though. Like when she came down, like I saw and contacted the divine feminine.
In my book Hollywood Mind Control, I do a profile of a couple pop stars: Katy Perry, Britney Spears, and Michael Jackson, and I go back into the history of Katy Perry's family, and her dad is very interesting. Like he was a pastor, but before that, he was like selling acid for. He was
giving acid out with Tim Leary. Did you know that?
Oh, really?
Yeah. On record, he says that.
Yeah.
He was a '60s counterculture boomer dude giving out acid with Tim Leary.
Oh, there's always that connection.
That makes her concerts now make a lot more sense. Have you guys seen the footage of her on tour? We watched it on Broken Sin.
With the giant turd.
Yeah, and the lightsaber,
weird,
like going out there with that lightsaber, just the worst choreo. It's like they didn't. It's almost like a rehearsal, like the first run through of this. It's
and here you have Katy Perry's halftime show pulled up with the pentagram. So that's, ritual magic 101. You cannot do anything in the occult without the pentagram, right? And in Freemasonry, with the fire behind, it's called the blazing star, and that represents Sirius. So without the fire, it's Venus, but with it, it's called the blazing star, and they feel like this is where all of their power comes from, the star Sirius.
That's why she was all about being up in space and talking to the goddess.
And you get into Sirius Radio.
Yes.
And like, I'm so old, I still listen to Sirius Radio, and it's just like they have so much woke trash on there, and you go, your demographic is truckers.
Isn't it just music? What's woke about it? What do they do? I thought the whole idea was that no commercials.
Hi, I'm Andy Cohen, and we're gonna get into it. You're like, what truckers listening to Andy Cohen? Like who is the chick who won the original American Idol? What's her name?
Oh shit.
Kelly Clarkson.
I love her.
Kelly Clarkson's got her own show, and she's not holding back. You're like, what is Kelly Clarkson going to say that's so...
The truckers are
She's
blowing
throwing an
truckers'
N-bomb
minds.
right there, and she's like, whoa, she isn't holding back.
Well, Sirius is so fascinating, too, because, it's venerated by every ancient culture. The Egyptians, that's where Washington, D.C. is based on the architecture of Sirius. And where was I going with that?
Like the constellations are reflected in the layout of Washington.
Yes, so, really? Yeah.
It's a Masonic.
I didn't know there were.
Okay,
I think there's a constellation.
I did a show on this called Why So Serious?
Yeah.
On my channel, and we go into Sirius, and then Washington D.C. The actual architecture is like based on astrology.
Yeah.
And so if anyone wants to argue politics with me, I'm just like, if you don't know what Sirius is, you don't know, because
I get that.
All of the founding fathers were Freemasons, right?
Yeah.
And the Freemasons venerate Sirius. So if you don't know astrology, if you don't know these occult ideas about where we get power from, then you don't know.
This is also not from a conspiracy text. She surprised me. She read this 500-page book from an academic on the architecture of DC, because when she first said that,
that's so crazy.
I was like, I believe, there was a Mason that designed it, but when she said it was astrological, I was like, nah, that sounds out there. And then she's like, no, here's the academic text on it. I'm like,
there's more astrological incorporation in DC than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And this is interesting. So the Egyptian hieroglyph for the star Sirius is an obelisk, a dome, and a pentagram. So Washington Monument, Capitol Dome, and the pentagrams all over. And so this is Isis Sirius. In Egyptian, they would call her Sothis, but it is goddess worship.
Wow.
And actually, in that academic book, he was making the point that that city was supposed to reflect the body of this goddess, Columbia. That's why they call it District of Columbia.
Yeah.
And then you get into how it's a sovereign territory along with the Vatican and the city of London.
Yep.
And just,
Dude, have you ever seen Katy Perry's Christian music when she first started?
No.
So she was on TBN as a Christian pop star.
Yeah.
Right? So
very young.
Yeah. Well, yeah, probably early 20s. Yeah. If you look up Katy Perry TBN, you'll get a couple songs of her playing on there. That's it right there, the first one. Yeah. And she's playing like evangelical praise and worship songs. So I think even with her, they had this humiliation ritual to go from being this good girl, goody-goody evangelical, and then they turned her into this massive, ISIS priestess type thing.
They love that good girl gone bad.
Yeah,
trope.
exactly.
Oh, yeah. Because it's so toxic.
And then what was her first hit single?
I
Kissed a Girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of kicked off the LGBTQ, the trans stuff, right?
Yeah, well, but the other thing too is TBN. So I did a live stream recently where we went deep into the mega church evangelical stuff. Dude, all that stuff is connected to intelligence, money laundering. It's all a big psyop.
Is it weird that Russell Brand is kind of into it now? She's not, kind of they switched it around.
They switched.
Isn't that kind of weird how he was
They
super...
flipped.
He flipped. He was like a sex addict, drug addict, and now he's super into about Jesus. And she's like, grew up on it, don't care now.
Yeah.
Well, you've heard forever that he made this switch to get in front of what's happening right now. Right? If he goes super holy roller.
Preemptive holy roller.
Nobody loves Jesus.
The reason I don't believe that is because if that's true, they would have known that before.
What do you mean?
He did Forgetting Sarah Marshall. They'd known he was a rapist if he was a rapist.
No, but that's the whole, there just was a time where, nobody came out about this stuff. It was all hush-hush, right? And then the Bill Cosby...
Me too.
Kind of started that, right? And then the ball started rolling, and then the CAA took it over.
Yeah.
And then they just started, going after everybody in this attempt to drive a wedge between men and women.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, that's end game right there. If you can get men to hate women and vice versa, then you can.
I think about that all the time when I tee off on chicks. I'm like, oh, Jamie probably thinks I'm divide and conquer, which there is some.
Jamie's Jiminy Cricket in your head, like the little moral
You're
compass.
not helping. You're not helping. You're totally right. You're totally right. Yeah. You're totally right.
Not all women.
No, for sure. But I do think there is an overcorrection happening in a like you said, the N-word, the anti-Semitism, the anti-feminism that's kind of going on. That is like, if you go like 20 years earlier or even 10 years earlier, it was a whole other way.
Yeah.
Where like white guys were getting their dicks kicked in. You couldn't criticize black people. You couldn't talk about Jews. You couldn't do any of that stuff. And now everyone's like, nah.
Hitler. Yeah.
Well, it's the weirdest.
Well, that's how they keep.
No, that's a psyop.
I tried. I love Leonardo. I try to convince her. It's like, what you're saying is this is the only guy that wasn't curtain controlled, and that Germany was completely on lockdown, and somehow this guy wiggled his way to the top.
I brought my book, Tragedy and Hope, the big fat thing that has, it's page 1049 or 1059, the whole chapter on the section, paragraph on the Bank of England funding the rise of Hitler.
Yes. And did you present that to her?
Well, I'm going to take it to her tonight.
Okay. She's great. I just think you gotta get off Hitler. It's never good to get behind that.
Well,
guy.
the whole psyop is vacillating between extremes, right? You have totalitarianism and you have anarchy.
Yeah.
And if you can get people going this way and that way and this way and that way, then you're off the straight path, which is kind of what our church is called. Orthodox. Ortho means straight, right? The right way, just like normal, okay? Not Hitler and not like a crazy trans person either. So just a normal person in society trying to do virtuous things instead of have a lot of vices, and this is where you get, the stable society.
I agree. I totally agree, and it's done on purpose, right? So whenever the population starts going too far one way,
swing it to the extreme.
Boom, all the crazies come out, right? So it's like, if we're starting to go, just let people live their life, then crazy trans gonna come and read to your children. So everyone runs back the other way, and then you have this side going, oh, fuck the gays, fuck everybody, and then they all run back.
Public executions and crazy stuff like that. So we don't want either of these extremes, right? Because we are supposed to have free will to choose.
No, I agree. I agree. And God did give us free will. I think people forget that all the time. And, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know scripture and all that, but I have conversations with people that do deep dives into all of it. And, it's like not everybody gets into heaven at first, okay? Like, that's just the truth. And you're on your path. And if you choose that path, go for it. It's just at the end of that isn't, heaven. And for me, it's just like, as long as you're not hurting people, in particular children, I don't give a shit what you do. I don't really care. It's live your life, do your thing. It's a really dirty joke, but it's like, there's a lot of miserable people out there. We had Antifa show up to one of my shows. It wasn't my show. It was Josh Denny and Gavin McGinnis' show. And they're all fat, wearing masks, purple hair, beta bitch, and you're trying to tell everybody how to live a proper life, and your life is garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why would anyone want to follow you?
That's what we try to do, is just figure out how people are harming themselves and say, stop harming yourself.
Yeah.
Right? I care about you. Love has to have boundaries. You have children. You don't let them do whatever they want. Right?
They try.
Yeah. But because you love them, you try to correct them in the proper way. So we would say, if you can say anything on the show, I would just say, I don't hate LGBTQ or anything like that, but I think a lot of problems would get better on their own if people stop putting things in their butt. just on a biological
sure there's something to that. There's some kind of spiritual shit that goes on with that.
But even in health, like just the baseline health reasons, I care about you. I don't want you to get abortion because that harms your body.
And psychologically.
Right? And psychologically. I don't want you to put things in your butt because it's going to hurt your colon, okay? You're going to get diseases. I don't want you to go crazy dyeing your hair and all this kind of stuff because it's bad for you.
No, I agree, man.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to this kind of sell to women that it's like, oh, I don't want to have kids. And sometimes they're like, I don't want to bring kids in this world. But it's also like, we just want to live our lives. And you like, nobody tells people. If you're young listening to this, God bless you. The phone stops ringing. And it's not because people don't like you. And it's not because you have no friends. It's just people's worlds get smaller. They have to focus on the ones that had kids, have to focus on their family. People who don't have kids, focus on their work. But the phone stops ringing. It just does. Because people turn inward. And like, if you're living your life and you just want to be able to be free and do whatever you want, good luck with that. You get tired of traveling. Everything's super expensive. You feel like the creeper at the club because you're too old. I mean, but nobody tells young people this. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's whatever their one thing that they do well is maybe they tell a bunch of 22-year-olds what the future is. Because when you're a super young girl, the world is yours. And that's your reality.
Yeah.
Right? And then, like any physical gifts, like pro athlete, it goes away. It just does. Doesn't mean you're not super attractive. It's just you're not a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
And that's just life. And that's just life, dude. Everyone, like this whole picture, everyone's going off on Pamela Anderson. Have you seen this? Mm-hmm. Where they're like, oh my God, what happened to Pamela Anderson? She's like 60.
Yeah.
Like, she looks great.
Yeah.
Maybe that weird haircut she got isn't helping, but she looks great. But what do you want her to be?
She also lived hard.
You don't like that? You don't like that hair,
She
dude?
had a full life.
You don't like that?
I mean,
butt?
she looks fine.
Dude, how old is she?
Yeah.
She's like 55 or
Yeah,
60.
she's not supposed to look like a fuck doll anymore.
Yeah,
You know?
like, what are we doing? It's so dumb to listen to how, and especially women are teeing off on her. It's like, what
I think she looks totally fine. I'm surprised that
she
there's
looks
been such a
great.
reaction. I think she looks good.
I think
actually.
people just
Would.
don't like the bangs.
I
It's a
would.
weird look.
Yeah, that's a weird look.
Yeah, this guy would.
Leave that to the Asians.
Leave the bangs to the Asians.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just the natural thing. So back to Hollywood. Again, I went to this Tom Score thing. It's so dark and it's so funny, but it looks like Hollywood maybe learned some lessons and it's kind of opening up and not trying to shove stuff down our throats. Obviously, Star
seems
Wars is
so.
still doing it, right? Just like,
Well, yeah, but there has been some counterbalance to that. It sounds like with Bob Iger in there, because he's just a bottom line guy, and when he sees that all this woke shit's just not working, I think it sounds like he reversed course on a lot of stuff. But they've just totally Star Wars is. I mean, I don't want to nerd out here, but they fucked the canon. I mean, those movies are canon now, and there's nothing they can do about it. Those shitty movies that were made.
what does that term mean? Fuck the canon.
Well, it's like the canon is, like in the biblical sense. These are the official books of the Bible. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
This is the story now of the Skywalker. You can't go back and unkill Luke Skywalker.
Oh, interesting.
So they're trying to figure out. There was a rumor last year that Favreau had this whole plan to kind of unspin it with like time travel or some shit. I don't know, Jon Favreau. But anyway.
Is that why Marvel works? Because there's just so many multiverses they can just fuck around. Oh, it's just a multiverse. Don't
No,
worry about it.
yeah.
We're still
If
sticking
that
to the
character
real.
died, he can be alive in this one.
They've done it, several times. Yeah, they're screwed.
kinda smart
They're
in a
screwed
way,
too,
kinda
though,
right,
because they have Kang as canon, and what are they going to do with that? I mean, he was a great villain. They had a great villain, and they just punted him because some woman chased him for a couple of blocks.
Dude, that is the craziest
It's
story.
insanity.
It's
That whole
literally
franchise,
a video
billions.
of him running away from her, and they're like, "You're guilty." You're like, "I was running away from her." Oh, the courts are F,
Billions
dude.
of dollars.
Do you know what the story he's
No,
talking about?
you-
Who is it? What's
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan
like
Majors?
a Marvel.
He
villain.
played the bad guy. He's a black
The bad guy,
actor.
yeah.
He played the bad guy, and everyone loved it. They thought he was amazing. Well, he hooks up with this snow bunny. That's the new word, snow bunny. Sorry, Jamie. Snow bunnies. And
Let me see if this is
he's running from her, and she's chasing him around.
Is this somebody he just saw on the street?
I think this is
No,
girlfriend.
it's his girlfriend, but things had kind of gone south, and he knew that she was like violent when she's drunk. So he's and they were in a car. I think one of these vehicles here, and he's just like, dude, I gotta get the F out of here. And
You know how crazy your girl's got to be to leave mid?
mid car.
Yeah, car's still on. There's still cars driving. He's like, nah, I'm out.
Yeah. And then he just runs away trying to.
And you can see she's on his ass, and he's just like, leave me alone.
Yeah, yeah. And she's doing that in high heels, by the way. She's running in high heels.
Props
God
to
bless
her.
you.
Oh, he tried to push her in there. Yeah, you can see he tried to like.
Look, I mean, he just did a dead ass.
It's so crazy.
She's
People
shake-
watch this.
She's chasing him, and like in her head, it's the Cuba Gooding Jr. Show me the money. Show me the money.
By the way, she's doing great
She's
for high
catching it.
heels. She does not care about a car.
Yeah, she about caught a car.
Let's not forget, she's also drunk. That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's a money sprint, dude. She knows the money's coming.
Bring me the bank account.
How long are they running for? That's a pretty nice.
Of course, guys are like, hey, what's up, babe? Babe, you
She ends
okay,
up,
babe?
yeah, telling her whole story to those people, and then
Look at that.
And I guess like somewhere in there, like him trying to get her off of him, she kind of took some marks, and then
Yeah.
she just ends up in that closet like shit faced.
Yeah, I mean, dude.
Anyway,
it's
yeah,
just
it's
crazy.
that. And they were so committed. They had already laid the groundwork, in a couple of shows that he was in, and he was going to be the big villain for like 5 films, and they had to just punt it. That's why they brought Robert Downey Jr. back. Such a desperation move to play
my,
Dr.
and now
Doom.
he's gonna play a different guy.
He's got to play Dr. Doom. Yeah.
I could play a black dude villain. They should bring me in. I do a really good black dude voice. What can I say?
Let me hear it.
You just want me to do a black dude voice like this right here?
She's fire.
Shit, I could do that right there. Let me be a villain, man. Hey, right here. I'll be a villain right here.
So recently, I've talked about this before, but recently Wanda Sykes goes on. What's his name? What's the TV show we talked about before?
Shannon Sharp?
No. Wanda Sykes went on. Who's the guy that has a Netflix talk show now? He used to run Saturday Night Live.
Oh, John Mulaney.
John Mulaney's
Yeah,
show.
you and Charles were talking about Wanda Sykes.
Yeah. Like, because you kind of want to get into Hollywood Spies, and like that seems to me.
Oh, you said she was NSA?
She openly talked about it.
That's crazy.
She said
dude.
she's in the NSA. That she was in the NSA.
Are you
And
sure?
then, yeah, dude.
No, I was just thinking that's.
I thought I had this on lockdown, like Hollywood Spies, and then Sam Tripoli blows my mind that Wanda Sykes was in the NSA.
Yeah, it says this is even old. This says, did Wanda Sykes work for the National Security Agency? Yeah, she did. Yeah.
I found one. Yeah, another one.
That's crazy, dude.
Former NSA employee, Wanda Sykes tells.
And it's just
5 years she was in the NSA, and
I mean, so is that Marin, whatever his name is, the guy who's going hard on the Jews from the other.
Myron? Oh, yeah.
He was in, I believe, the
FBI?
NSA.
Was it NSA or FBI? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that's so strange.
yeah, he's talked about that publicly. That's right.
It's
That's
just
not his name either. That his name
Yeah.
is Amar Foodie or something like that.
Well, and then you got Sean Ryan, right? Like I saw him. Did I send you that clip the other
Yeah.
day where he's? I mean, talking about how he got shit faced in Miami, got arrested, and then went and checked his computer, and he had to be in Egypt in like 12 hours to do some kill squad shit or something. I don't know. And so he goes to the CIA to report, and they have his mugshot all over every door in the CIA just to let him know, like, hey, dude, we saw it. You're okay, but we know everything. Nothing gets past us. Is what
do you
he
think
was
they
saying.
were high fiving when he walked in laughing?
Isn't that? It's just weird that he's now a
Again, he's one of those guys that suddenly was everywhere.
everywhere.
He's on every front page of the YouTube, just like Lex Friedman. You're like, oh, he's everywhere, and like exposure is it.
Right.
That's how they may blow you up. They blow you up through exposure by giving you the front page of YouTube, putting you in everybody's algorithm on Instagram. That's how you blow somebody up.
There's a reason payola was a thing because it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they did it back in the old days too, like 30s, 40s, 50s. Those people were recruited into spy work too. They would blow them up. There was just what I put in the last chapter, or almost last chapter of the third book, was a whole chapter on Hollywood spies that's like declassified now. So like stuff like Wanda Sykes, but like older era Hollywood, golden age people like Sterling Hayden was an OSS operative. Julia Child worked for the OSS. I think we talked about that before, but there's a whole bunch of these that only recently the National Archives have declassified. That, oh yeah, by the way, Cary Grant was a spy and blah, blah, blah.
And the new celebrities are the influencers now. So if you have been a tinfoil hat for multiple decades like us, you've seen how hard it is to get an audience organically, just not being pushed by any person or agenda. And then you see these people just like blast
Like
to
he's saying,
the
like-
top. Yeah.
This is your new alternative media celebrity suddenly out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's some that are really good though.
Yeah.
Like one that I don't think is like we've talked about Ian Carroll.
Yeah.
I really think he started very slow with very generic stuff, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna follow him because he's talking about shit at Whole Foods, and then he keeps getting deeper, and you're like, okay, and now you're.
I think people can blow up, but like some of the people that blow up, it's like, really?
Yeah, but here's the whole thing. It's like Wanda Sykes, right? It's like, why her? Well, because she was at the office making everybody laugh, probably was very magnetic, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
And probably she may not even know she did it. Like, they may work people here to like, just, she's going this way at the NSA and someone just goes, and now she's going this way.
Nudge.
And she doesn't even realize that she's doing it. And next thing she knows, she's got her own show. Bill Cosby's telling her she doesn't speak proper English. And here we are. And now she's huge. She's been to Jeffrey Epstein's island, and she's NSA. I mean, like, you can't be. And guess who's all three of those, by the way? Jeffrey Epstein's island. Well, he might not be intelligence, but he is on a P. Diddy. Is Chris Rock. I mean, now you start seeing Chris Rock doing all this kind of woke comedy now. It's like you get the call, dude. You get the call, and that's how you do. You do it through influence, and then
He's almost a zombie brand at this point, though. Like, does he have any? Do you think he still got weight, like among regular people? Like, I haven't heard his name.
Chris Rock saved his career when he said, white people don't hate black people; they hate N-words." Okay, I didn't want to say it again. It shocked you guys the first time. I was like, "Oh my," but. That's what blew him up because he was raw and real, authenticity. And then but then started getting into WAP, and it's just like even, and I know Dave Chappelle seems to come from a different area, but even that stuff's gotten, people are over Dave Chappelle talking about that stuff.
What happens to Kanye?
I mean, what do you guys
MK
think?
Ultra.
I mean, do they bring him back in? Dude, his new Heil Hitler song is actually not that bad. It's like
Really? There's no recovery in mainstream from what he's done, though. Like, they don't let you back.
Did you
from
see
that.
the Piers Morgan from yesterday or day before?
Yeah, I saw it.
Man,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Well,
he just came on and
I'll
like
bring
2
him.
questions and he leaves.
Dips. He's
And
out.
then Piers is like, where's it going? Where's it going?
Oh, but they were messing with Pierce, I guess, for like a day and a half. They were like, trying to get this meeting going.
and then Sneeko just like went off on Piers for like the next 15 minutes. It was pretty wild.
oh, so he was hanging out with Sneeko?
Yeah, and it was like supposed to be a 2-way interview. Yeah, and then he just leaves after 2 minutes. Yeah.
If you can,
Well, and the great part about this is Piers managed to he manages to turn it into like a 20-minute segment where he recaps their first interview.
Right. And then it ends up being Sneeko making fun of Piers for like the next 10 minutes. It's crazy.
list to ask you questions about your publicly stated love of Hitler, you should probably talk to somebody other than me. What followed, frankly, was a farce.
I'm getting you multi-tracks right now. I'm about to step in this interview, but I can hop back on in about whenever it's done. That nuance right there, it's idiotic. It just shows the hate that you put out.
Hold on, is this coming up?
I just don't.
And
So,
since
yeah,
then,
he
a
just
lot
leaves,
has happened
right?
in your life. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to try and talk to you about some of this. How would you say your life is at the moment?
On his phone.
I mean, you see that view?
Yeah.
He's right. You see that view?
Your life is good? Well, judge it on the view as the answer to how my life is. Judge me by the view.
Well, the view is Mallorca. I've been there. It's a beautiful place. And for all intents and purposes, you seem very relaxed and happy. That is in direct contrast to your public image at the moment over the last couple of years, led by your ferocious... Well, hang on, let me finish the question. Led by your ferocious use of...
No, but I already disagree. It's not in contrast. There's so many people and artists that are championing the idea of someone being able to just express who they really are and have been able to go through the war of being attacked by the banks, being attacked, by the banks. That's the best way to put it, being attacked by the banks and to still be here with this view. is that's the win. So I think I'm in contrast to your contrast.
Okay, but the point I was going to make is that I watch what you put out on X. You've got 32 million followers, so you're one of the most followed people.
See, wait. Now look right now. You're not going to take you're not going to take inches off my dick, bro. Like, how many followers do I have?
Well, how many is it?
I think you could do the study. You got a whole staff over there.
I thought it was 32 million. How many is it? You obviously know.
No, don't help them out.
I'm told it's 33 million now. So congratulations.
There we go. There's the
bigger following than I
number.
thought.
No, congratulations. Your information is correct. You're not just some, dude trying to sub. I'm a gift, bro. You know what I mean? Why do all you people in media act like you haven't played my songs at your weddings?
Would you like to just for a brief moment, if you knew you could get right out, just jump into his brain one time?
Yeah.
Just to feel the madness and then jump right out?
I need some of that confidence. Like, God bless me with Kanye confidence.
Yeah. I mean, so do you think this is a natural thing happening, or do you think this is some kind of script?
I'm starting to think that Ye just constantly trolls the media. I mean, I don't agree with everything that he says. I think he's a little Lulu, but I also think that he knows to create all of these drama situations just for attention.
Yeah, he knows how to play it.
Is he?
to
but
create
he's devastating his finances. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I'm not saying he's not a little crazy, but I mean, like, he also knows.
What do you think the end game is, though? I guess that's because I've said the same thing, that I think it's tongue in cheek for him, or at least he's like a shit stirrer.
Performance art.
Yeah,
some of
performance
this
art.
shit is gross, dude. Like what he was saying about his cousin. Oh, that was
And
so
the
gross.
pornography he posts, like these weird pornographic cartoons and stuff, just horrible.
I think that, I mean, I don't know if that dick sucking thing was real, but I thought it was for him just to be able to say the F word.
Oh.
If you sucked a dick before, you're kind of gay, so now I can say faggot.
Oh.
Like, it's kind of like,
Oh, guess who sucked a dick before, huh?
say, can I say faggot now?
Wow.
Can I get away with the F word?
Well, so when he said, I thought it was a pretty good zinger. He said, "If a bitch don't let me smash, we not friends."
Yeah.
And I said, "Same with cousins and family." Right?
He'll never. I mean, it's over. He never is not going to hear that.
I think Kanye's on the path to Britney Spears land, like losing
Like a meltdown.
grip on reality.
Like a
Yes.
crash out.
Losing
You don't
grip on
think he's
reality.
past that already?
Do you think?
Not like conservativeship level like she is,
okay.
but
Well, maybe
yeah.
he's just got too much power to be.
They'll give
end up being-
Larry Sanders a conservative ship
you-
over
Yeah.
Kanye.
Now, do you think it will get to the point? Because I've always said Britney Spears and Mike Tyson are very similar. They were just the male and female version, where they were just such a giant part of just the pop culture. And they fell so far that everyone kind of freaked out and was like, okay, we got to push you back up. We don't like this. You were so big. Do you think Kanye gets that? Because Kanye is doing something different than everybody else did. Like, they were self-destructive, whereas Kanye's trying to burn everything to the ground.
Yeah.
He's more of the Joker.
It's like a chaos agent, like Joker.
Yes, yes. But I do think, in a weird way, some of the things he's trying to achieve, he has achieved. In the sense that, like he's made talking about World War II a lot more acceptable. People are a lot less scared to talk about it.
He's following the Trump model. Remember how Trump was just scorched earth, and then he went and hung out with Trump, dyed his hair, was wearing a MAGA hat, like in 2016. Crazy, 8 years ago, whatever, 5 years ago, 9 years ago. So I think he's following that model of scorched earth. Just say whatever the hell you want, crazy stuff, and it just gets attention and burn it all down.
You know who's getting the Britney Spears is Justin Bieber. That's who I think is going to end up
Yes,
like
yeah.
Britney Spears if it's
Oh,
anybody.
he's
He's
going
all into
crazy now.
drugs again, and
Like, we always felt he got turned out, right? That was always.
Those clips of Diddy and him, right, when he's young.
And then he's
right?
at like some with Odell Beckham in a dance floor, and he like comes up for air, and
yeah.
you're like, I don't think that's what I saw. I hope that's not what I saw. Now we're kind of like, that might have been what I saw.
well, imagine what he thinks. If Diddy's in jail and he got Diddy by Diddy, he knows his video's coming out. Everyone's has to know, be like, yo, there's no denying it. I mean,
but I don't
must have
know.
known
I
that
don't
that's-
know if that's gonna happen. Just because there's a video doesn't mean it's gonna come out. There are some like kind of whether they're actual laws or social etiquette that we don't kind of show that shit, right?
Well, let's make another weird connection. Can you pull up Katy Perry, Kanye West, E.T. music video?
What?
Oh
seen
yeah,
that?
remember in the video they're in space and
Yes.
she's like humping
So she's
aliens
a
and
transhuman,
stuff, right? No, seriously.
transspecies creature. And he talks about, I'm going to bathe my ape in your Milky Way and all kinds of, yeah. And she's on like Mars, I think.
Like he is like he rhymes the same words over all the time, but his beats are so good that we don't care. I know he rhymed astronaut with asked a lot, which is almost the same word at the same time. But he does that so I remember watching the doc on him. I'm going, he doesn't rhyme, he just repeats. I had to tell my daughter that. She kept saying the same word over. She's like, I'm wrong. I'm like, no, you're repeating. You know, when I say I forget what a word, but it was along the words of skies. And then she just kept rhyming words. I'm like, there we go, little rapper. Okay, well, that's enough.
Yeah,
I think I want to apologize to everybody for playing that song way too long.
But what is she saying? Coupling with aliens. So you know
it's like
Isaac
OTO.
Weishaupt,
That's the
right?
OTO. So yeah, of course he knows that.
Yeah, so you have him on. So we did a 3-part series on my channel, and that ends with a game show about the history of humans coupling with aliens throughout time.
Unbelievable. It's just, yeah. I mean, there's that famous painting that, like, where man came from, and it's an alien, a monkey, and a baby.
Like a gray and Bigfoot and you make a human.
Yeah.
I wonder how much symbolism they throw in music videos, or they did before that we don't
All
see
the
now.
time.
Because music videos
Dude.
are not a thing anymore. I'm pretty sure if I go back and see some music videos of the early 2000s, I'm
You
like,
should
oh,
know,
Oh,
Sam.
just did that.
definitely. My book
You
is
should
full
know.
of that.
We just did that. We went back
What?
and
You
watched.
were on many music video
I was in a
sets.
couple
Yeah,
music
I mean, were the
videos,
people
yeah.
around like, hey, we got to get the
You
little
saw-
alien?
No.
You had
I will
the.
tell you that. Not in ours, no.
Okay.
You had you're underneath Britney's cooch.
Yeah,
That's your.
I saw her,
yeah.
her magic. That music video saved their career because she was so out of control. And this is kind of when her dad kind of took over
Yeah.
right around then. It was like that fight. So she needed to do a music video, and it was based off my a sketch that we made called Fake Heat, where me and my buddy were like, "How are we gonna get famous? We had a fake heat." So I go down to Home Depot, I get a bunch of Mexicans and turn them into paparazzi and have them follow me everywhere. If you can't make heat, you got to fake heat, bro. And so they took that style, put it into the music video, and it blew her up. It was the first time she won Music Video of the Year.
Oh wow.
But that kind of brought her back up,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now she's kind of just like,
Something's going on.
yeah, she's like crazy. Everyone
Crashing
wanted to
out.
make her dad the bad guy.
Right.
And then it turned out maybe he was right. Maybe she did need lockdown. And she, it's very obvious that she was put through the grinder.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like there's so much of that right there. Like, it is, I mean, it's like very interesting to me. It's like when I was a kid, everybody wanted to be famous. Now it's like famous people are like, what, did you give up your butt?
Yeah.
Would you molest a kid? Like, that's what it seems like. Like, what evil shit did you have to do to get that
Get
job?
to that, yeah. Crazy.
I don't know if you got to sell your soul to be on the Masked Singer. I don't know about that, but it just, and I don't even know if those stars are slowly fading away. Like,
What does it take to get on The View?
Not Kelly
Like-
Clarkson. She didn't do anything bad
I mean,
in my head.
Maybe.
Because I like her.
You like her?
Yeah.
Maybe she
Is there
just got,
tears though? Like I have to just give up like a Honda Civic to get on The View. You know what I mean? Like there's tears to it. Like I don't have to give up everything to get to A-list status. I'm being silly.
No, I'm with you on that. I mean, like, do you gotta
Yeah.
if you're on Antique Roadshow, did you have to
right.
kill a family member? You're right.
Like I was in the Gin Blossoms, what do you do
Yeah,
for that?
what those guys-
Just a Honda Civic.
The Mighty Mighty
That's it.
Bosstones. They all gave up their beehole, and now they're like a one-hit wonder.
It
right?
wasn't worth it. Yeah.
It wasn't worth it.
Although I think the guy who wrote the songs in Gin Blossoms killed himself, so there you go.
Oh,
There was their
yeah.
sacrifice right there.
Illuminati sacrifice right
Yeah,
there.
that's it.
But and it's like you go, how much is control? Like, did they control Michael Jordan? And then you start to study Michael Jordan. He went to a team that had a Bulls, which is Bath Mitt. Then he had that blood sacrifice that we often talk about, which is his dad dying.
Was there gambling? There was like, that would be organized crime debt, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but think about that. Like, like, think about that. They're telling you that the richest athlete alive, still,
Under
because
your
of his
thumb,
sneakers, right,
Right.
wouldn't pay off his dad's debts. And he loved his dad. I mean, Michael Jordan is a psychopath, but he's like the lovable psychopath that because he was just so cool to look at. And he glistened and he was just amazing. You're like, oh my God, that's amazing, dude. You know, there was always famous stories of like wives calling their husbands going, listen, I hate to do this, but Michael Jordan wants to bang, so I kind of got to go do this. Yeah, there's very famous. Like, Michael Jordan would have gotten murdered in today's, with social media.
Oh,
Because he was, and then there's always discussion that Jimmy Butler and Anthony Edwards are both his illegitimate children. There's, because they always say how much they look like him. So there's that. But, I mean, he got caught gambling. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it's a scandal. Yeah.
And everyone's like, I'm going to retire, play baseball. You're like, the most competitive guy in the world's going to take 2 years off to look like an idiot on a baseball field. And it was so close. Obviously, he got busted gambling. Maybe that's where the dad's death comes from. But there's a lot of darkness.
Have you done any shows on, all the pro sports being rigged?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We've had even when Brody was alive, we had that guy on talking about how everything is rigged. To what extent do you think it's rigged?
Not everything, but I think probably when you get into the billions of dollars on the line,
Like right now, do they know who's playing the Super Bowl? Like that.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know.
What's the end game? Is it money from gambling?
Yeah, so the organized crime factors have a huge role, right, in wanting to see certain outcomes.
Yeah.
But
it's not entertainment though. It's mostly money from gambling.
there's a guy, Brian Toohey. Have you heard of him? You might have had him on. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But he's written a few books on this. He used to go talk to the players for the FBI. Like the FBI would send him to talk to the players that are like new recruits, because he would tell them if you got if they just got drafted, he'd go talk to them and say, look, you're going to be approached and given offers to throw a game, and it will happen. So I don't know how often or extensive it is, but if you've got dudes lecturing the players, you know what I mean? It has to be going on. I mean, we know about the World Series being thrown, so
But Johnny's team used to have a point guard that's now in Miami.
Terry Rozier.
And how much money is he making?
His contract? He's got a good contract.
Yeah, so how much money can they offer him to throw game? It's probably got to be something else.
Maybe it's
sexual blackmail.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too.
He's into weird ass shit.
He's got almost 25 mil guaranteed for next season. So
see, but in basketball, I can see how it's about one player. In soccer, football, you can't just blackmail one player, because that player really can't. Unless you're Messi or Cristiano, you really can't affect the game as much. You got to do more of the refs. I'm going more refs.
Well,
I think he would lecture the refs.
The refs are very viable in sports where the game's a lot more players involved.
Makes sense.
Well, what do you guys think about the fact that everyone last year, 2 years ago, was talking about how all they want to do is get Taylor Swift to the Super Bowl, and then that script all played out exactly?
I think that was a script. Yeah,
and then this next year, the Kansas City Chiefs just they were getting call after call after call after call, and everyone was pissed off about it. And then the Chiefs get to the Super Bowl, get murked, and then the NFL quietly fires 3 of those refs.
Well, remember too, a year ago before all that happened, Jesse Walters from Fox was playing the clip of the NATO meeting where they said, we at NATO really wanted to use Taylor Swift as psychological warfare, proving everything that we've been writing about for 10, 15 years. Literal NATO meetings saying, now they claim, but they didn't actually do it. They're openly talking about that they want to do that. That's the very thing we've been saying. It goes back to Elvis. Elvis worked with the military for propaganda. Duh. So you think they wouldn't use Taylor Swift? Of course they're going to use Taylor Swift. I mean, that's she's linked in the Democratic Party. All the, Biden crap is Katy Perry plays the DNC events. It's totally.
Oh,
lame.
yeah. You remember Obama's first term, she was very heavily Democrat. She would even do concerts and come out with a dress that was like a ballot with the word Obama checked on it.
Katie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think it is? We've been talking forever on the show about how they just start doing data on you very early. So what makes someone like Katy Perry pop? Is it that they throw a bunch of them out and they just see who pops? Or is it like very specific? Do you think? What is the process? Because, you know, like LeBron James, right? He has the boule tattoo and, you know, he's associated with, you know, he's been basically busted doing steroids, yet nothing happens to him. He's been, you know, linked to P. Diddy, all this crazy stuff, right? My opinion is that they throw up a bunch of people and they wait to see who's the one that pops.
And then take over and like
then
steer
just grab that, keep going.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. And also, too, I do think there's probably some like bloodline heritage connection. Like, who do you come from? Right. Which everybody knows about that in terms of like Hollywood royalty, you know, children of the famous people.
Yeah.
But also, I think there's some like, they know about your background, your bloodline, your genetics. I think that plays a role in it. That helps, I think, explain a lot of things. It is
crazy how many comedians have like weird military and intelligence backgrounds.
Absolutely.
That goes all the way. Parents were teachers. But that helped Ice Cube. He came from like a bus driver and a teacher. It's just interesting.
It's not everybody, but there's definitely a component of, you know, people that are groomed for that position in the future, I think.
And I think it was easier back then because now, I mean, social media, you can make yourself kind of famous.
Yeah.
Where back then, everybody was pretty
chosen.
Chosen. Like, we're going to let you. Now you can get these ones like our show where it's just like, just pops off because
I also think that Facebook is an intelligence operation, obviously, and they have their finger on the pulse of comedy, and they promote really dumb comedy.
Yeah.
They allow the really dumbest of dumb to get seen by everybody while putting their finger down on. But even Leonardo, though, she's like super funny comedy, but she does something that I think they like too, which is she mucks it up. Like she pisses people off. So you're either dumbing people down or pissing people off. That's what they like. Like my pronoun bit blew up on the internet because they knew it would piss people off.
Yeah.
And
speaking of, by the way, the next Sam Hyde Show episode that we're writing right now is going to deal with sports and sports social engineering.
What are you writing for him? What do you guys write? His rants?
Yeah, well, in part, yeah. So there's 2 or 3 of us that write, and then Sam kind of takes all of our page and then kind of adds his riff. So it's like a collaborative vibe, I guess you could say, to use the Zoomer speak.
Yeah.
So
can we collab?
Yeah. So like the first episode, like he reached out, he's like, I want to do a 20, 30, 40-minute show where it's just straight up like me ranting on, you know, social topics, issues, books, etc. So we just sort of throw out like the hot topic of the time or the day. The first one was back when Elon had all that H-1B visa drama going on. So we attached it to that.
Yeah, I saw
Dear
that.
Elon, then we did Dear Vivek. Yeah, Dear Elon was like 20 million views across platforms. It was crazy. Then we did Dear Vivek, and then we did Boomers hasn't come out yet. That was going to be funny, making fun of Boomers. But so yeah, it's like a collaborative 3-way thing, like 4-way thing, writing.
That's great.
It's fun.
Do you live
It's a
there,
blast.
or just like you just?
No,
send
it's
in
just
notes?
all like I think, you know, when I went up there and did PGL with him last year, his podcast, we had a lot of fun, hung out with him and Nick, and vibed. And so I was like, hey, you know, Alex is kind of like in limbo in terms of the 4th hour and what's going to happen with InfoWars. It's still limbo. So I'm like, I'd like to, you know, pivot. I've been wanting to pivot more in the comedy direction for a long time. So he was like, yeah, let's talk about Sam Hyde Show. Let's start doing that. So the first one was like a huge.
That's great.
Yeah. So
I'm
loving that.
He's huge.
It's crazy. Like even like the number.
No, physically he's huge.
No,
too.
dude. Like, yeah. So people thought I was some kind of like midget. From pictures, they're like, "Oh, we got Dyer. He's under 5 feet tall." Like, no, dude. Sam Hyde's like 6'6". Dude.
Yeah,
he's
dude.
like this beast.
He's a giant guy. So he would go up during the BLM stuff and just say the most anti-BLM stuff in the blackest part, and no one will go on
Nobody
stage because he's a fucking Nephilim.
Yeah, Stein is a pretty big guy too, and he's fearless.
Yeah,
he's fearless.
Yeah.
He's just
Stein
fearless.
Culture jamming, I love that shit.
Yeah, I do.
I think it's very funny.
It makes
dude.
me laugh. Yeah, a lot.
Let's get into something real quick.
Yep.
Trump, Jesuit, right? Like his kids all went to Jesuit schools. Do you think you don't think he's a Jesuit?
I wouldn't think so.
I thought
maybe you know something I don't know.
Well, I've heard that his kids both went to Jesuit schools or Jesuit trained. I could be wrong, but I've been assuming this for a long time.
Interesting.
Then he's into Zionism as well. What do you...
Well, he just threw in that picture of himself as the Pope, jokingly, but I don't think that's off the table for him in his mind.
He's throwing his hat in?
Yeah.
Let me run it. I'll be the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be the best, Pope.
Yeah. Make the Vatican great again. It's going to be wonderful. Make me the Pope.
Is that blasphemous to you?
No, I don't like the Pope. So, no.
It is crazy. My girlfriend's Jewish, and she's like, "Oh my God, the Pope died. I'm so sad." I go, "Why?"
Yeah, what?
Like he like runs a giant empire.
Yeah.
Like he's. I don't care who you are. If you're in that position,
I just told you like 10 minutes ago I did a non-binary Pope skit, and you're like, "Does that offend you?"
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I'm looking for the trans. I'm just joking.
Yeah. No.
No, it doesn't offend me. I think it's funny. I mean, Trump is just like a Kanye, just like a wild card, dude. It's just, you don't know what you're gonna get. Yeah. And even when you think like, okay, it's totally Zionist, and then he'll like throw out he'll retweet that Sachs dude like going off and critiquing, Zionist stuff.
I mean, so that's how I know nobody controls his Twitter or his social media when you post stuff like that. Because anybody would tell you like, hey,
that's not a good move.
There's a couple people that are Catholic. Maybe we shouldn't run that. It's not that funny. He's like, nope. I'm doing it, and that's how I'm like, this is all it is.
Did you hear Shane Gillis's story about going up to Trump's suite at the Super Bowl?
No.
Oh, it's so fucking funny. Him and his buddies Super Bowl just drinking, and they look up, and there's Trump's suite. And Shane's like, "Let's go." They're like, "Why?" He's like, "No, Lear, let's go." So they walk up, right? They walk up, and like all of his Secret Service love Shane Gillis. Who doesn't love Shane Gillis?
This is while he's president.
This is at the Super Bowl.
Like the last Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're like, "Oh, look, the retard guy's here," right? So they come in, they walk him in, and they're in the suite. And Trump walks up to him and goes, "Hey, how are you? This is blah, blah, blah." He goes, "Do you guys want to meet the head of FIFA?" And he's like, "What?" He's like, "Do you want to meet him? Hey, you, get over here."
Infante, right?
Yeah. He calls him over, and the guy's like, "This is," like, he doesn't even know their names. Like, "This is the head of FIFA. They're only here because I told them they have to come here." And then he just walks off.
So he leaves Shane Gillis and the FIFA guy just like intermingling with each other.
He made me meet the head of soccer.
So strange.
Right? It's so crazy, dude. Yeah, man.
Well, Jesuits are, longtime CIA associated connected since the Cold War. And that's the Wim Hof book is all about the CIA kind of making an alliance with the Jesuits under the guise of the Cold War. We got to work together. So they made the Roman Catholic Church into a form of American soft power. So that's on record. We know that. But I also think that like they're just known for having like the most prominent universities. Georgetown. These schools are Jesuit schools. Clinton studied under Quigley at Georgetown, if I recall. So those are Jesuit schools. They're tied to the CIA. It's going to be a natural overlap. But I don't know that doesn't make Trump like a Jesuit or necessarily under that, because I think you've got these competing mafias and factions. You know what I mean?
Do you think what is it? He said he studied what was the school? The Jewish school, Kabbalah.
There is somebody sent me that quote out of one of his early books, one of the 80s, books from the 80s, and he's like, it's like the first page. I haven't read the book.
Here's my Kabbalah teacher.
It's like I went to the Kabbalah. It was the best Kabbalah. I probably made it the most famous, best Kabbalah. I'm going to improve on it. We're going to make Kabbalah great again. By the way, I forgot in the impression. I had a buddy who called me up when I was working on this, and he was like, "You're missing his slurp, his breathing slurp." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, listen." And he'll talk about this, and I go, "Kamala probably can't count. I don't know if she can count." And he'll do that breathing thing. And I was like, "That's the missing thing. I needed the slurp." Yes.
Sounds like a robot trying to breathe.
But there's no better way to get laughed than a Trump impression. People love Trump impressions. They just love it.
And now everybody's got one, and they're all pretty good, actually.
They're all great.
Everybody's got one now.
He's already made America great again by
his voice. Yeah.
power structure of the world. We'll end on this. Power structure of the world. Like, what do you think is power structure? You know, because right now everyone's like, the Jews run everything. And I personally think they're middle management. I think there's people above them going back to these old gods, the Babylonians, you know, the black nobility, whoever those old Babylonian banking families, the 13 families. What are your thoughts?
So I've been reading a bunch of stuff on the Rothschilds lately, a bunch of stuff on the history and the founding of Israel. I was supposed to debate a big YouTuber guy on this topic, Red Vaughn. We had a debate coming up on CIA, Western support, Western intelligence, Mossad support for ISIS, Al Qaeda, all that. He backed out of the debate this week. So I was really looking forward.
Andrew?
Yes. I really wanted that debate. He backed out. So anyway, but that
he looks like a Jewish stereotype. You're like, if you had to draw it, you're like, that's what they look like.
I wanted the debate because it's a topic I've been studying for like 10, 15 years, the Western support for ISIS, Al Qaeda, all that in the 1979 conflict. British Empire, we talked about this last time.
You changed my
British spies, all of that.
That was a great episode.
So the British Empire, and which kind of was a Rothschild-ish sort of entity to a degree, not totally, but they had a large amount of power. They set up the nation-state of Israel, I think, for geopolitical reasons.
I agree. That's what I think.
Shout out to Richard Grove, by the way, who found an 1860s Moses Hess book where Hess says, prior to political Zionism, that the Rothschilds were interested in setting up a nation-state of Israel. So political Zionism is post-Rothschild plan for the Middle East.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, people didn't...
But it's about trade routes.
And yes, and
that's what it's all about.
Geopolitics. It was about oil back at that time, and the British Empire. Well, not in the 1860s, but in the early 1900s, they figured, oh, there's a lot of oil over there. Maybe we need to go scout it out and find out. So they wanted an outpost for the British Empire. Even the Jews got used in that situation because they had the mandate to go out there. So yeah, at the higher level, at like the Rothschild level, they don't care about Jews.
Yeah,
they don't care about those people. I mean, they gave them all the shots and lockdown. So I did a space on this. I had like 5 Jews calling in saying everything that we're saying. Like Andrew Meyer, shout out to Andrew Meyer who made the Alex Jones video game. He calls in and he's like, these guys are all like using the people as chess pieces.
You inject a foreign ethnic group into an area,
create a powder keg,
right, and then you give them all the money and all the power and all the guns, and they clean out the indigenous. And now you get the Greater Israeli Project, which is just simply controlling trade routes. When Iran says if World War III starts, we're going to shut down this river or shut down this canal, and oil's going nowhere, that's very powerful.
Yes.
You want to control that stuff.
Yes, exactly.
You want to control the Suez Canal or make your own canal.
Dude, I just read Eddie Bravo when I was on his podcast last time. He was like, you got to read John Stockwell's book on CIA in Angola. I didn't know anything about the CIA in Africa. So on the way here, I read that whole book, did a podcast, did a talk on it a couple nights ago on my channel. And everything that you just said, John Stockwell, who came out as the head of the CIA Angola program, said, that's all it was. We're riling up all these, crazy indigenous Zulu Nation tribes, getting them to fight, and then we're going to take over the resources. That's it. That's simple. And it was the Kissinger plan. It was all Kissinger's plan. Kissinger called the shots all throughout the 70s. Not just with Gladio and like a lot of stuff's coming out that Kissinger was just like running the freaking world, dude. He was telling everybody in Italy what to do through Gladio, the Vatican Bank. Then he would be like, okay, here's what we're going to do in Africa. Everybody in the CIA, you do what I say. Basically just running the CIA, just everything. Telling them, go destroy this place. Now go destroy this place. Then we come in and take it over.
How big is the pineapple that they're shoving up Henry Kissinger's ass right now in hell? How big is that? They're just getting a t-shirt gun and just launching mega giant monster pineapples into his ass. Or he's coming back and he's blowing donkeys in Tijuana. We don't know. But there's got to be something. I do believe there is something. I know you guys probably don't believe reincarnation, but there's some kind of something.
Well, that life review can't be fun, can it?
Oh, dude, he died how long ago? He's still going through it. Every single person that he fucked over. Did we not talk about anything you want to talk about? Was there anything left you want to talk about? It was a great conversation. It was loosey-goosey.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, man. We have the most fun, I think, coming on you guys' podcast.
Thank you.
It's just a blast.
Thank you.
Like, if you go to the shop, you can pre-order the book, part 3. Signed copies at my website. Of course, we do have the same publisher as Whitney Webb. So Trine Day, shout out to Trine Day. You can get Esoteric Hollywood 3 right there. It will be 2 months. So don't expect or fuss or bitch at me. It's going to be 2 months before the copies actually come. But all copies from the website are signed. So you can get them right there at that link at the shop. And yeah, just check out Sam Hyde Show. Next episode will be on his Twitter popping up.
I want to go on his podcast so bad. I just got to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would be a perfect fit.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
I think he's great. When he came on the show, I didn't exactly know who he was, so I don't feel like I gave him the amount of love he deserved. We still loved him. He made us laugh so hard, but...
You were telling him, you were like, what about you in stand-up? And he was like, I'm still iffy on whether or not it would work for what I do. And then he went and hung out with... They did a podcast with Shane Gillis, him and Nick. And then Shane Gillis was like, you need to do stand-up.
Yeah.
So then Sam wrote out a whole thing. We went and saw Sam in Tallahassee. Dude, it was great. It was great.
He's
it was
great,
really funny.
dude.
It worked.
And he's fearless, and his fans love him, dude. It's great. Jamie, anything you want to push? Anything you want to say?
I'm excited because a producer reached out to me to make a documentary off the talk that I do when we do our live shows called The All-Seeing AI. So look for that.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. I hope it happens. Kick butt on that. That's great. And Giovanni Vuk, who sat in the back, nice enough to join us. Again, go to Vuk Jiu-Jitsu. And if you're in the San Pedro area, grab yourself a little jiu-jitsu lesson. I love it, especially if you're young, dude. I would love to put all my kids in jiu-jitsu. I don't know if they have the mind for it, but I'd love to do it. All right, let's break down the episode. All right, let's get into it, guys. What do you guys think?
What do you expect from Jay Dyer?
Jay Dyer was crushed. It was a loosey-goosey interview. It was fun. He had friends in. Jay and his wife, Jamie, they were both great. Always a pleasure to have him on. Giovanni Vuk sitting in the back.
Yeah, I felt
He's like, I didn't even want to come on. I'm like, okay, dude, then congratulations on living your dreams, dude.
Yeah, Jay Dyer is doing this thing now that I just didn't exist really when I was a kid growing up, and I wish it had I would have been a real fan of his. He's kind of championing Christian ideals, of a certain persuasion, and I just like that. I like seeing people be kind of fearless and going out there and saying what they believe. It was just really out of fashion, and there was no platform for it too. Obviously, in the '90s and the early 2000s when I was coming up, but
I think again,
it's a good thing.
We're gonna have. We talked to Derek Bros. There's a lot of tech stuff going on there, but I think at the end of the day, whatever you want to hate about social media, and I get it, but it has allowed discussions that weren't allowed before to happen, whether the powers that be want them to or not. And
totally.
I love that he's going on all these big debate shows because he does have so much knowledge. He has so many footnotes. And then his wife is even better. She's like, yeah, and then there's this. He's like, I didn't want to believe that, but it's true. And you're like, damn, dude. No, dude, it used to be crazy, right? Back in the day.
Oh, no, the best part is when you're on YouTube and you watching your little whatever they promote to you, and then you're like, wait up, we just had him on Tinfoil Hat. Is he on Piers Morgan?
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, and then he goes hard on the balls over there, and then he told us what they expect when you do shows like that.
I love that. Call you up. You can go nuts. You know that, right? Hi, just remind you, go crazy.
You think you would get the same call, Sam?
What?
You think you would get the same call? You think they'd still tell you, hey,
They
Sam?
don't have to tell you.
They probably, if they actually did any research on me, they probably would be like, we don't have to tell him that. He's full of energy.
Yeah.
But
if you got a call, it'd be like, yes, well, I'm sorry, sir, but we're not going to be able to have you on Piers Morgan.
Can you pull it back a little bit? No. Pull it back a little bit.
We've had to cancel. We've had a change of plans.
Yeah, you're getting a little too hard on the Jays lately. Sorry about that. But let me just say this, I wonder if because of the topic of discussion, they thought they might be a little too calm. You get 4 people talking about religion and the Catholic Church. There might be a little bit more reservation going on there.
Yeah, possibly.
So maybe they're like,
I bet they
I know we're talking about your Lord and Savior, but muck it up, please. Muck it up.
Hey, can we give you props again, Sam? Creating live events. You got the props. I'm giving him the
guy who should get all of the respect is Doug Stanhope. Doug Stanhope was the first one to go, I don't need to play your comedy clubs. I'll do my own thing, do my own ticketing, and do it myself. And I remember when my friend Brett Ernst was like talking to him and congratulated him on how he did it. And Doug was like, you could do it too. You just got to have the balls to do it.
Yeah, but for stand-up, but you got people not doing stand-up. You got people doing live podcasts. I don't really know what Jay Dyer's doing at his live show. I'm sure he's killing it.
They have a
but
crazy
that's what I'm saying.
live show.
It's not comedy.
It is an event. It is an all-day event where like Jamie does her stuff, Jay does his stuff, and then Jamie Kennedy does some stand-up at the end, which is I'm not sure what the order is, but that's a really smart show. Like at the end of Doom Scrolling, I always end on funny sketches, funny videos.
You're the one of your favorites, yeah.
Yeah, because you want them to leave laughing.
Yeah.
You don't want to drop some heavy stuff on them and then have them all get angry, leave angry. You want them to have a chuckle at the end and leave. So it's a brilliant thing. And then, once again, Sam telling people what they need to do, the fucking oracle. Sam Hyde's like, yeah, Sam told me to do it. I'm like, there we go. Put another guy on my ledger. Huh?
Oh, didn't you one of your guys on your main ledger just have a premiere?
Yeah, I went to Tom Segura's premiere. Tom Segura is me if I was smarter and dedicated. Like, he is another dimension of me. Like, Tom and I's sense of humor, and Christina, we totally align. Like, we get each other. Like, we laugh. Like, there's nothing, no holds barred with them. When you watch Tom Segura's new show, you're going to love it. I want to talk about Unbroken Sim, so I don't want to go too deep.
Where's it airing?
Netflix.
It's, yeah.
And I'll get into the whole thing with you on that. We're going to record that after this with Xavier Guerrero making an appearance.
Returning.
Yeah, everyone loves when Xavier's on the show. So it's good to see. It's good to see people not needing systems to work. It's good to, there's always going to be some kind of gatekeepers. There's going to be some kind of person who decides whether you get the exposure or not, but you can work and you can make it happen. You just gotta find out what you're best at and what your energy is best at. And like, maybe you aren't a podcaster. Maybe you aren't a content creator. Maybe you're better with your hands and building shit. And like, there's something out there for you. In a weird way, hairstylists have always been kind of independent. They're renting that chair. That's how they make their money. They rent that chair. So,
well, dude, you're always saying it. Just put a camera up, and it's gross that we've become that kind of society. But some of the most popular channels, the guys aren't even talking. It's just people who have a trade that they're good at, and they film it, in relatively high quality. And people just want to see. People like to see people do things that they're good at. It's something we like as humans.
There's a guy that repairs cars. I don't repair cars, but he does it in such a cool way, and he records it in the edits, and I'm following that.
Like Rich's
Sean
rebuilds.
Burns, I told him, dude, he takes old junk and redoes it. I'm like, dude, you need to film yourself doing this. That would blow up on YouTube.
There's one guy, and this is not somebody necessarily who's talented, but just takes. I see it all the time. It must be the most popular thing on the internet. He just takes a lead ball, I assume it's lead or steel or something, and heats it up really hot, and then just drops it onto different things, and it dominates Instagram, Facebook Reels, or whatever the equivalent is. Millions and millions of views. He'll just take this hot ball and then drop it into like a chocolate cake or something, and you see what happens. I kind of want to see what happens when this fire hot ball drops into chocolate cake, and you watch it explode or whatever. But yeah,
Johnny, how many times have you clicked on a video of a AR going through a watermelon, and you'll watch it slow mo?
Oh yes,
yeah, it's the same thing. We'll just watch it because we're animal. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah,
I'm
with
every
you,
gun
dude.
video.
I'm totally. So I think it's great. I think that they have such vast knowledge, and just like how the world works.
Dude, imagine their dinner with their kids when they have a kid.
Yeah. That kid's gonna be so
smart. Yeah.
The kid's gonna be so smart, and it's so funny. Did you hear him? Like, oh yeah, she just handed me this book, 500 pages, and then he sat down and read it.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, the hard part for you has not been acquiring books. You've had no problem
I have so many
acquiring
books, and they just sit there. I need to get back into that. I need to get back into the reading like 30 minutes a day, which was
Were you doing that?
Yeah.
How many pages did you get through? 3 or 4? What?
No, I can get through like 5. I mean, dude, I gotta go back and read the paragraph again. Going, what the fuck did I just read?
I think it's the way we grew up. Well, no, that doesn't explain you, does it? Because
shut up! Because I'm old.
Well, no, I mean, I was gonna, short attention spans because that problem of needing to reread shit is like.
I'm gonna drill that into them.
How do you do it though? They've already tasted the seduction of iPad.
But they're gonna read. They're gonna read.
Because I hated reading as a kid. I remember that feeling of hating it, and I wish I had read more now, but I just hate it.
Yeah, Jay talked about I think his mom worked in the library, so he loved to read. Yeah. So I mean, it's literally, and maybe you're not a big reader. Just find out what you're great at.
I love audiobooks, but now I do. But back then they make you read the most boring shit when you're a kid. It's the stuff they make you read that turns you off. I think if I was reading, I like The Count of Monte Cristo. I love that book. That was, it's a the greatest revenge story of all time. This guy.
That was the only thing I got to give to my dad. Anytime I wanted, and he'll tell me to this day, he's like, anytime I wanted a book, he bought it. He's like, that's the only thing I didn't mind buying for you because it's something you were going to read. And he's right. I did have a lot of books. I mean, obviously, I at one point I stopped asking for books, but every time I was like, yo, can I get the new Harry Potter? Let's go. It was a thing where
I got my daughter's Harry Potter just sitting on a shelf. They're not even 5 yet. What age should they start reading that?
I don't know. When do kids start reading?
I start reading to them.
8 or 9. You know what you should do? You should probably try to read a book before you watch a movie with them, or the other way around. So maybe that way they can.
I'm gonna sit down.
8 or 9 is suggested for Harry Potter.
Okay, we'll do it. Bang! I got a couple years. Get ready to rock.
You already bought the books? Is that what you said?
Oh, yeah. Because I was like, I'm going to read to them. There's pictures of me reading them old philosophical and spiritual books when they were babies. And the baby's mama was like, maybe you should do simple books. I'm like, no, we're going to get them early.
I like that idea. Yeah.
Great show. Always a pleasure to have them on.